bikes, I do. Thing is, they're not designed for everybody. For example, if you have to commute to work and you want to go by bike, most of the time you're going to arrive to work tired and sweaty, and you have to take a shower, you have to freshen up. And then you're tired throughout the day. I mean, you got a good workout, but you're tired. I wanted to make this so much easier to where you could do both. It gets people back into bike riding again. So if you haven't ridden a bike for a long time, you jump on one of these. You can still pedal as little as you want with it, but you have a front motor that helps you forward. It helps you, get up hills easier. Helps you can, ride double the speed. And just electric gives you that boost. It's like comparing old Nintendo to the Nintendo Wii. It's still a video game, but one does more things than the other. I try to keep, my shop close to the highway because I get customers from the city, from the suburbs, like Lincoln Park and Lakeview have been a big target area because the commute downtown is like 4 to 5 miles. And there's all these people, crammed on a red line train or crammed on a bus, and people are thinking the same way I am. Hey, there's got to be a better way to do this, a better way to get to work. And regular bike's great, but I mean, people sometimes are strapped for time, and these can go double the speed of a regular bike. You can ride it like Lance Armstrong speeds and think nothing of it. But yeah, very diverse. A lot of baby boomers in the suburbs that love to just want the electric bike for the fun of it. They just want to go for a nice cruise and go sightseeing and just have a good time. Electric bikes, it all depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like an older cruiser model, that would be less expensive. If you're looking for a high-end model, our price is usually between $600 and $1,600. We try to do it like that because we have a diverse group of customers that say, hey, I want an electric bike real bad, but I only have $600, $700. We can still meet their needs. But then you got customers that say, hey, I got the cash. I want a nice electric bike that's going to last me, the next 5, 7 years or beyond. And so they go with the higher end model. Take off like Superman. Like if you see one of these parked on the street, without the battery, you really wouldn't know what it is.
Right.
When the battery pack comes off. That's it. Is your gas tank. All our bikes are custom made. We will get usually between 6 to 10 customers a month that come in here and say, here's my bike converted electric. And I've done different bikes from trikes to recumbents, lots of mountain bikes, real nice $2,000 Trek bikes that people just want the extra boost. We convert those electric too. Cruisers we've converted, recumbent tricycles where, for older folk that have limited mobility, they can get back into bike riding again without the pain. Someone who has a knee surgery or something, and say, hey, I want to ride a bike again, but I want to make it a little bit easier. I still want to pedal and enjoy it, but just make it a little bit easier for me. So that's who we focus our builds toward. We try to be as diverse as possible. Like we have the Cruiser right here, which is a bigger, higher end bike. The frame is really solid. It can hold a good amount of weight. And then we also have folding bikes here that if you have a limited amount of space or if you want to travel, just throw this thing in the trunk of a car and go somewhere. You can. This part comes down too.
I mean, you literally could just fit that in a huge bag.
It's not very heavy. I mean, this is right now without the battery about 40 pounds. And then the seat comes down too, but I can do that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this is, you can just store it in the corner, or if you have an office space too that allows bicycles, you can just set this wherever, take the battery, plug it in, and that's about it. These we don't build, we just want them to be as diverse as possible. These fold even more. This is called Velomini. We get it from a company in California. And these bikes are really cool too. I mean, they're not as fast, but they're pretty compact.
Oh wow.
And it weighs only 31 pounds. So I mean, we've sold a lot of these to people with boats. And one guy had an airplane that wanted to just, wherever they fly to, wherever they dock, they wanted just a quick way to get around. use your thumb as much or as little as you want. There's no gears, there's no nothing. It's just you decide the speed of the motor. And this is as loud as it gets too, it's really quiet. I just wanted to build my first electric bike to see how I could do it, and it was a lot more complicated than I thought. I mean, it took some serious time to get these designs down right, because there's so many different bike suppliers out there, like electric bike suppliers, and some are unreliable, some were reliable, so it's really tricky to get a system down of building these the way that they're supposed to function. This bike can go about 20 miles an hour. This one too, if you want to focus on this one. This shows the battery charging. Now the battery is really cool. The battery, this is custom made lithium-ion battery, and it's about the size of a brick, and you can get 20 to 30 miles on just this battery. You can still ride in the winter. The cold doesn't really have an effect on any of the components as long as the bike's stored indoors. But for riding outside, I'd recommend bundling up, hats, gloves, goggles if you can. You can still ride in the winter. You can, and that's what makes it even more adventurous. Because then I don't ride in the snow. I don't ride in the rain. But other than that, I mean, if it's just a little cold day like today, 30 degrees and just cloudy, yeah, you can still ride. Just another thing too, with Chicago streets, you gotta watch out for potholes.
So the electric components aren't affected at all by?
No, the older lead acid battery is slightly affected by the cold. You'll notice the performance degrades if it's in freezing temperatures for a long period of time. But the lithiums are just they generate their own heat, so they basically heat themselves. It's just newer technology. The hub motors are amazing because there's no maintenance on them, there's no oil. It's just magnets that fight each other. That's what makes it spin. Usually customers will go to our website, and if they like the bike that they see, they'll give me a call and they'll come down and they'll buy it. And they'll test ride in the area and buy it. If they already have a bike that they're riding, yeah, I like this bike, I want to keep it. They can bring that down too, and we can convert it and then give it back to them. So then they can have electric bike. So whatever they want to do. And the most important thing with electric bike too is testing. But once the bike's built, we don't just resell it. We test it a good 30 miles before we resell it. So these are our custom designs that we know what's wrong with them. We know all the components. We don't need to, order anything from overseas. We get them all here in the United States. It's extremely hard to do, and a lot of the regular bike shops won't touch electric because, like I said before, there's a lot of quality control issues to deal with. A lot of suppliers overseas are not reliable, and if they sell you, all the components and they're not working properly, then you're going to have unsatisfied customers, and word of mouth gets out, and then it's a disaster. And it's really hard to maintain, having a regular bike shop is one thing, but having an electric bike shop, that's totally a different business entity. It's very hard to blend both of them. And hypothetically speaking, get rid of your car completely. If you live in Chicago, you think about the savings long term. You think about, if you get rid of your car, you won't have to deal with car insurance, you won't have to deal with car payments, you don't have to pay for gas, oil upgrades, filters, just car maintenance, city parking sticker, and the works. I mean, you probably save about $500 a month. $500 a month by riding one of these. The only expense is up front. The only expense is the bike, and then once you have the bike, it costs a nickel to charge the battery to go about 15 miles. So if you're going 7 miles to work, 7 miles home, you're only paying a nickel. Imagine what you'd pay driving a car. Imagine what you'd pay even taking the CTA or taking a bus or a train. You'd pay a lot more. So in the long run, it makes sense to have one of these, economically speaking.